Okay, today we are going to play with this fabric. It is actually one panel, but it has 4 fat quarters on the print. So I don't know if you can see that. There's the fold. That's where it transitions. It's kind of a new way that they're doing fat quarters. Once in a while I see this. This one's by Riley Blake. And what I'm going to do right now first is separate them into the fat quarters individually, and then we're going to just play with this fabric and do like half square triangles. We're just going to play with the block. And because this is printed, I was going to try to line it up, but I don't think that's the best. Actually, that is lined, but at the store they cut this by hand, and I think I need to do that too. And I'm watching what I'm doing on both sides, but you only want to cut through one layer at a time. I would have started from the other side, but I was kind of committed. And there's that. I obviously should use a rotary cutter instead of freehand cut, but that's how this type of project goes. No, it doesn't. We're switching. All right, so rotary cutter. Line up this line. I don't know if you can see this. It has a little bit of a bow to it. See when I put this in next to it? It is not lining up. You probably can't see because of the shadow, but I don't know if you can see this, but as I come closer on this side, this is hanging out, this is covered, this is coming out. So it's a little I'm just going to tug at it to make it straight. And I'm right-handed, so I need to do it this way. And there we go. Oh, see, that happens. Did you see that wiggle? Oh. Well, that's going to end up getting cut off, but that's not what I wanted to do. This is pretty good right on their fold. My trick to holding the ruler straight, which I don't always do, but is to put a finger or two off of the side. So I'm holding it down here, but then this stabilizes my hand so it can't do that. And it doesn't always work, but it's pretty good. Could iron this. Get the fingers off of there. See how it wanted to move, but it didn't? Look at that. I did well. Okay, so now we have 4 fat quarters from this line, which should measure 18 by 22. Let's see if it's long enough to be the 22. Let's see here. It's 22 if you count the selvage. And I don't plan to use the selvage. Here it is again. And there's going to be just selvage on the 2 sides. because they were able to get 4 of these out of a yard, and 4 of them at his fat quarter. It is like plain 4 square. So 2 on one side, 2 on the other, and there's only 2 that had salvage. So, but this is kind of fun. I've seen a couple fabric collections like this, and instead of, you know, there's only 4 prints, so there's not as much to the line, or unless they have others and I just don't know where they are. That could be it. Okay, put the salvage edges all on one side so I can cut these the same. So what I was saying earlier about the salvage, I was referring to the white salvage where it gives you the information on the pattern. There's also salvage on the other side. It's just that the print went to the edge, but you still don't want to sew with it. Can you see all that? Those little holes are there from when they were making it. They're from the machine, but it's also a tighter weave and it's going to shrink at a different rate, and you can see more of it on the back side. So you don't want any salvage. And all right, we're gonna make a baby blanket with this, I think. Just something really small. Now look, if I were just to lay the fabric out, see how it's not quite square? That's why we be real careful with how we lay it out. Let's look at this fabric. Really light yellow, or that's a pink floral print. These are little suitcases stacked with eyeballs and these waving. And then we have, looks like Dresden. I want to call it a snowflake, but it is not wintry. It is a little Dresdens. And then the last one is little, kind of a gingham with some pinking, just different. This line is called Little Sweetness by Tasha Knoll. It's a 2017 print. I found this on a clearance rack, and so if there are other pieces, I have no idea without doing some research online. Done with this, I am going to make a paper pattern of this. It might just be sketched for now. I'll make it so you can see what it is, either download or maybe you can take a picture with your phone of the screen. But I will get the measurements of all this because it's nothing like I was saying was going to happen. So what I did was I took my 5-inch blocks and I put 2-inch strips on each side, but I used the same print on both sides of the opposite color. So all these are pink and all these are green. Okay. And now what I want to do is I've gone ahead and cut up the 3-inch strip into 5-inch pieces. And this is all the waste I have. That's it, besides cutting the salvage edge off. This is like almost a zero waste. right, let's talk about this. So what I did is I cut up a whole bunch of 5-inch squares. And then I had a 3-inch strip and a 2-inch strip that I cut up to make all these extras. And I put the 2-inch strip on the solids and the 3-inch strip on the whites. And now we're going to mix them. And my design board is still busy. I need to get the project that's on there off. So, okay, one thing I could do. You see the difference between here and here? It's 1 inch. So if I take 1.5 inches, because there'll be 2¼ inches sucked up into the seam allowance on each side. So if I take 1.5 inches and add it to this, then both blocks will be the exact same size. And then I'm not dealing with different sizes. So that's where I could put my white strip, is right there. And it would be a skinny little white. And it's still not near another white, and it would just make the blocks all the same. And then you'll just line up your seams as you are sewing down. And if you want to add strips, I think this could use it to make it a little longer. I obviously want to go wider. Let's just start with one row going across and see what happens. But first, we need some white. Actually thinking what I might do, I've got 2 here, is chain piece. Cut these afterwards, which means I'll put this under the machine. I'm struggling with my hands. Put this under the machine and then lay it down like this, of course not on the selvage edge, and then sew down here, and then put the next piece and just keep going, butt it up next to that, and then when I'm done, bring it over here and slice it. They don't have all these extra things, and I'll make sure that they're the right size. So I took this over to the machine. I've chain pieced as much as I could on that one, or on the 2 strips. I still have some more, but as I had shown you, I laid the piece down and put it there and just butted it up, and then I flipped it over and turned it around and came down. So this is actually all one big long piece, and they need to be separated, but this is so much easier. Now when you separate them, I'm going to show you a trick, because you have to cut, but you need it to be exact. But you're also cutting through an invisible surface, because what you're cutting is down there. Does that make sense? So, and we also want to make sure that it's still 5 inches. Sorry. So, lining this up on here. Now there's 2 things you can do. One, you can just slice all the way through. I don't really want to, because I don't want to shave off the middle, but I'm going to do that. And I had a teeny tiny bit extra because this is the edge. Let me just square that up. Look how close that was. And now I'm done with that, and I'm going to go press that open. So I'm going to finish separating these. so we have these and these and then these two. So there's 4 different piles right there, but side by side they should be the same size, and actually they are. So now we have even blocks. Let me just see what happens when we do this. So now I have to find a backing or border or binding or, you know, whatever I can find that will go with this. That's not part of this collection because I don't have any more of this. But the really cool thing about all of this is I found this blanket at TJ Maxx, and it is the right shade of pink. Let's try to make this a little better. All right, so here's the pink blanket, and in the viewfinder, this looks a little more, it's a little bit different shade of pink than that, even though without it, it looked similar. That's why taking pictures is so good, but this will be on the back side. But what's really cool about this is it is fleece lined, which means I don't need to put backing or batting on this. And I'm going to use this as the back of the blanket, and it is really hard to see, slightly longer than the quilt. So I'm going to have an extra probably 12 inches or so at the end, but the sides are going to be the right width with a little bit extra, but it'll be enough because you need more on the back side to have something to hold on to. I think it's going to be perfect. And I bought this for $14.99 at TJ Maxx, and I'm always looking for things that will help with quilting and alternatives, and I do believe I'm going to be very pleased with this. Now, I don't know when this will get finished, and like always, I'm going to just end the video, but when it is finished, there will be additional links where you could see what it looked like when it's all done. So check back. I'm very happy with this.